Watch closely.
Tomou pau. Tá apanhando, né? Ote.
Now, if you didn't catch it, or you have absolutely no idea what you should have been looking for, the man with the blade showed 3 pre-assault indicators before he poked the other guy. Now, I'm going to show you the same exact video. I'm going to slow it down so you know exactly what I am talking about. But the first indicator is glancing, or in other words, he's looking around a lot. The second indicator was a weight shift, and it was a pretty drastic weight shift if you ask me. And then the last indicator, and probably the biggest one, was a high-pitched elbow. Now, the first 2 indicators are usually common tells of an attack in general, most commonly a sucker punch. The last one, the high-pitched elbow, is probably the biggest tell that a weapon is about to be introduced. Now, if you ever find yourself in a heated argument and you think things are about to turn physical, you need to make sure that you are paying extra close attention to the other individual's body language, because again, a lot of times their body is going to indicate what is coming next. And if we can see and pay attention to those signs and you see those pre-assault indicators, then we can act accordingly. Now, obviously in this situation, the guy clearly didn't notice them, and well, here we are. Blade comes out, guy gets poked, no time to react. So in the video, I want to show you 2 different ways to enter and get hands-on with the attacking arm so that you can either reduce the amount of damage that you take, or even better, try to prevent yourself from being poked altogether. So the first entry that I'm going to go over is a 2-on-1 baseball grip. This is the one that I personally tend to resort to when we drill and rep this out because it's comfortable to me, but more so I like the way that this impacts his posture, and it makes it a little bit easier to follow up, get to better grips and whatnot from there. So when you are talking about the 2-on-1, a couple things that we need to keep in mind. First off, how your hands position. If I go like thumb to thumb, even though yes, I can make that connection here, this is an incredibly weak grip, and if he's obviously thrusting with the knife, there's a good chance that that's gonna go right through my grip and I'm still gonna get stabbed. So I wanna make sure that I fold essentially my thumbs over the top of one another so that I have a little bit more of a firmer grip. I got the palms essentially behind it. And so now when I make that connection, it's a lot firmer. It's harder for him to puncture through, like it's still possible. But if I'm stiff with this and I stiff arm and I get a good grip right away and I start breaking his posture, it's gonna be difficult for him to actually puncture and get past the grip. The second thing that I want you to focus on when we are entering with the 2-on-1 is that I'm not looking for the wrist. The ultimate goal is I'm going to have a 2-on-1 wrist grip, right? Baseball grip. But I'm not going to be looking for his wrist because it's going to be a very difficult target to hit. And if Cash here isn't just going straight and he's kind of working in different angles like this, I might kind of play this game and we're going to sit here and mix. And again, you can still get it, right? But if at all it's off just a little bit, then there's a chance it's going to go through. So what I want to aim for is right at the elbow, because for the most part, even though he's going to be stabbing, that elbow is pretty much going to stay within place, or it's going to move, centimeters compared to the wrist, which could be all over the place. So I'm technically aiming for the elbow. Once I make that connection, my hands are going to slide down, and once I get down to the wrist, I lock out and I start stiff arming his arm. I'm not going to go from here, release, and down. It's make that contact, slide the hands all the way down, get heavy on the wrist. Now, as I do this and I start to get heavy on the wrist, this is why I like this position. I start breaking his posture. I'm going to start getting heavy on his hand, because even though I got the hand here, he can still step back, pull that arm free, work, and come right back into attacking me. So when I get onto this hand, my head at the same time should already be driving in, meaning that the moment I make this connection, my head's coming in, my hands are sliding down, so I'm already starting to apply head pressure. If I manage to headbutt him on the way in, that's a bonus. But my hands here, once I get this, I want to get heavy on it. I want to start extending this arm, putting pressure on the shoulder, because now his arm's extended to the point where it's going to be difficult for him to be able to muscle to get that grip back to where he can start attacking me. Once I've done this and I've started breaking the posture, now I need to start getting the blade away from his body a little bit. Now, 2 things I need to do while this is happening. First off, I need to take my hands and just start extending his arm away, right? He turns this way. I get heavy on the hands, my head pressure's in, right? He's gonna be probably trying to fight this back. I've got his posture broken a little bit. I start extending his arms out to the side. Again, the farther I can get his hand from his body, the harder it's gonna be able for Cash to be able to muscle that arm back. Now, the second thing from here, I need to start continuing to put pressure on his head, because this isn't gonna break his posture anymore. So my head, I'm gonna work on posturing my head up high, trying to get my head up into this pocket, and I'm gonna start leaning my hips back into him. And essentially I want him to start carrying my weight, and the more that I extend this arm out, I wanna make sure that I'm really driving my weight into him so that he feels that pressure behind his shoulder, behind his neck, and I'm breaking that posture even more while keeping this arm fully extended. The other thing that this does is that if you were trying to recover by circling the back and maybe reaching all the way around, the more pressure that I can drive, the the harder it is for Cash to actually establish that grip, work around the back, and get access to the knife again. Once we've gotten here, I've extended the arm away, I'm breaking his posture, I'm driving into him a little bit, he's fighting back into me. Once I feel that I'm in a good position, I need to now turn and start facing him. I've got control of the blade, you've got your entry point, but I can't just hang out there, nor can I just go from here and just let go. So typically, once we do get control, I need to establish a good dominant position. From there, I can apply damage, I can take him down, I can disconnect safely, whatever you need to do, but I have to get to a good control point. This is the entry, pressure in. Now for the control point, I'll take my inside hand, slide it up to the elbow. I just prefer to do it this way. Some people will still kind of just pass it through. I prefer to slide up to the elbow, drag the arm through, and now I'm gonna pressure behind the shoulder, continue to drive into him to keep him off balance. One hand will slide down, while the other hand slides up. Two separate movements, not once am I ever releasing those hands. Now I'm in a good position. I've established a Russian tie from here, or a 2-on-1 grip, whatever you wanna call it. I'm keeping everything tight to my body. I know where the blade is. Now from here, you just have options depending on what your goal is. Do I wanna work all the way around to his back, disconnect and draw a weapon? Do I want to sit here and just start applying damage, breaking the arm, ripping them down? Do I want to take them down, whether I sweep them? You have options from there, but in order to get those options, I have to get to a good control point, and in order to get to that control point, I got to have a good entry. Now, the second way that I've seen people do an entry, and I've tried playing with this one a little bit more, it's definitely scarier in a sense to enter in this way, but it is effective, and it's called like splitting the gap. Essentially what I'm doing is my hands are going to wedge together, and again, instead of trying to focus on a single point on the arm, I'm gonna acknowledge where his arm is, I'm going to acknowledge where his body is, and I'm splitting that gap, shooting my hands in between. Yes, am I gonna get cut there? Absolutely. The idea is that once my hands engage, my elbows are flaring out immediately, and both have to flare. This is flaring to get the arm extended out. This is flaring to keep him at check so that, again, if he tries to circle my back or close the distance on me, I'm able to frame off of him. This flare here is not a long flare. This is like a split second, and then I'm immediately switching back to that 2-on-1 grip right away, whether I get to the wrist or I get to the wrist and the tricep, whichever one you prefer. This is just the initial, I'm here, switch it right away. Here, switch, switch. Again, we go right back into what we just did. Get that head pressure, drive into them a little bit, make them carry that weight. Again, all my weight is on him. If he were to disappear, I would probably fall. But I'm making him carry that weight. And then again, my inside arm is gonna pull through. I lean back, pass this arm through, get to that 2-on-1 position where I switch those grips. We establish a control from there. We do the damage that we need to do. And then again, depending on what your objective is, we can do it from there. But at the end of the day, especially when it goes from like that 0 to 100 and you don't have a lot of time to react, I have to enter right away. My preference, again, is going right into here, right away, get heavy on that arm. Otherwise, you do have the split the gap, and then again, we transition to the arm. The only other thing I want to add in, because of the fact that it happens so quickly, you might be caught off guard where this is not your first reaction. It could be like, oh shit, and I just parry the arm first. And either I'm going to come in off that parry, or as he pulls the arm back and he enters again, I'll catch it on the second time. So you do kind of have to be prepared to parry the arm once, maybe twice. But again, if we're this close, I'm gonna parry that arm, and I wanna get hands on as quickly as possible, and then obviously work your strikes and whatever you need to do as you can.
Now understand that these are just two ways that you can enter and get hands-on with the attacking arm when a weapon is introduced. They are not the only ways that are out there. So I encourage you to get out there and seek some training. There's a lot of great instructors out there that have great knife programs. Ryan Hoover, Aaron Giannetti, the ShivWorks guys, they all run top-notch courses. So I recommend you take them. Get the reps in, learn from them, learn their different approaches and their different viewpoints on just how to handle violent encounters when weapons are involved. And then once you take those classes, take that material and be sure to rep it out on a regular basis so that it becomes second nature. So as always, get out there, go train, stay safe.